What does filmed for IMAX mean? It isn't just a movie that'll look great on IMAX's screens. It means that hiding from a sandstorm feels like fear in every flicker. And every triumph is felt in every sound wave. And the things we've only imagined, you can truly experience those too. That's what filmed for IMAX means. Get tickets to experience Dune Part 2 now and IMAX's exclusive expanded aspect ratio.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame Interview Encarta.
That's a great name. It's a great name. I think it's strong. It's creates, it's got good character to it. It's good. How do you feel about it?
It's got strong roots, yes.
Yes. Like a tree. Yes.
That's right.
Anyways, today on the show, folks, we have an all-two interview, this time with a very interesting guest named CiMa Birch. She is the executive producer of the Sofies Short Film Awards in New York City. It's a really interesting program that's been going on since 2014, where they have hundreds of filmmakers every year showing their work in short form. It's still open right now to taking in entries right now. You can get tickets to go see it. The festival is in November, I believe. We have up until like June sometime. You can go to their website and check all that out. It's the shortfilmawards.com. theshortfilmawards.com. And it's definitely a good thing to do, good way to support independent filmmakers and, the arts in general. A lot of good films that are, harder to see, that you'll be able to see this. There's also an online streaming version of the festival if you can't make it to New York City to see the stuff. Like I said, check out their website. It'll give you all the info on ticket prices and all that stuff for that. Also, how you can enter, you can submit your own short films if you are a filmmaker. And maybe you can win a prize. Tell people, hey, I'm an award-winning filmmaker.
That's right.
But anyways, right now, folks, here is our interview with CiMa Birch. I'd just like to welcome CiMa Birch to All Too Real 2. How are you doing today?
I am well, and I thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Well, thanks for joining us. First off, I see that you have a kind of a long career in film and TV and everything. I was just wondering how you got started in that.
Well, my interest in all of that started when I was very, very young. My parents exposed me to culture and, theater and dance and all of those things, literature at a very young age. So it was always something I was interested in doing, but I had moved to LA to pursue acting. And while I was there, there were some college friends of mine that had moved there years before, and they were in film and TV and doing their own projects and had this show for a network. And one day he just called me up and said, listen, I know you've never done it, for a network, but I know you can do it. You're brilliant, you're talented, you're a great leader. And so, but I need somebody there that I can trust and depend on. He's like,
Yeah.
and I believe it's you. And he said, so, would you do this for me? And I was like, absolutely, certainly I'm up for the challenge. And so, it just kind of fell in my lap, my professional foray into TV and film. And then film also, my undergraduate degree is in journalism and mass media. So I studied all of that there.
Yeah, that goes well hand in hand there, those two things. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So where did you grow up?
I'm born and raised, proud native of New Jersey.
Awesome.
I was even a Miss New Jersey teen model.
Awesome.
So proud to represent my state.
I've only been to New Jersey once, twice actually. Once where I flew into Newark, that was it, and then went to New York City. And then another time when we went to New York City, my ex and I stayed in Jersey, and then just took a shuttle over to New York. We got lost driving there though. I swear on our way from Ohio where I live to New York City, we were in Jersey longer than any other state. I don't know how, but we got lost somewhere. But
yeah, I wonder where you were.
I don't know. We don't know where we were. So
were you afraid?
Some parts, but not all of them. But
you might have been in North Jersey.
Yeah. I mean, I come from Toledo in Ohio, and Toledo's not necessarily that great of a city either. So I'm afraid wherever I go. No, but anyways, I love Jersey. It's got a lot of a lot of talent comes out of Jersey, like Kevin Smith and Bon Jovi
Absolutely.
and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of
Absolutely. I mean, even going further back than that, and at one point, New Jersey was known as the jazz capital.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I love jazz, so
Jersey.
yeah.
and specifically Newark, New Jersey, So a lot of talent and the arts and things, and Newark itself. That I was born in Newark, but I only lived there maybe until I was about 4.
Okay.
But Newark was really the place where I was introduced to arts and culture, and where those seeds were planted for my great love for it. I mean, and even today, there's just such a strong culture there in Newark for spoken word, music, acting, film. Did you know that film started in Newark, New Jersey?
Oh yeah. I remember that in my film classes in college. Yeah, it's definitely it's weird to think how. I mean, I understand why they had to move to Hollywood, but what would have happened if they never moved to Hollywood? Yeah, so how it would have gotten bigger. But also, just curious, what do you wish you knew before getting into film, and before you started to produce this festival that you have coming up that we'll talk more about?
What do I wish I knew before? I don't know that it's so much about what I wish I knew, more so that I would go in with more confidence.
Yeah.
And that's just a human thing. I mean, I know big executives of giant corporations who will tell you every day they go into work and hope that nobody finds out that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's the imposter syndrome, So yeah, lots of famous people have that. I know, people that I know personally and everything. You see them on stage or in the film, and they're people that are up on stage singing their lungs out, and then they get off stage and they're really shy and
right.
Yeah.
And so I just wish I had been bolder.
Yeah.
I was raised to be very polite and thoughtful and considerate of other people. And that kind of makes you be in your head all the time, always wondering and worrying about, are you imposing on other people? Are you, all that.
Yeah.
And so I wish I had just been more carefree and bolder.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have that issue where we think that we just don't belong where we are, even though I think everybody else at that same event probably feels the same exact way. So, what how did the Sofies, the film festival, how did that get started?
I tell you, I have always loved short films
Mm.
because, number one, they're short and then you can fit a lot into a sitting,
Mm-hmm.
and so I loved reading and I loved stories. And so to be able to have these visual stories, one right after the other, and like really take
Uh,
me on a journey.
yeah.
I had always loved that. One day I was online and I came across a short film, and it was these beautiful African children, and they were in their village and they were singing and clapping and dancing and having the best time, so much so that it was contagious even through the screen. And I caught myself like smiling with them, and and then all of a sudden, captions started to appear on the screen, and it said, I had gone to this African village to shoot a documentary. And I promised these children that once it was finished, I would bring it back for them to see. By the time I was done, most of them had succumbed to AIDS.
Oh no. Wow.
So my big giant smile,
Oh my gosh.
mouth on the floor now at this point.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling a whole other range of emotions. And I'm finding myself like looking, and now I'm wondering, like, well, did that one make it? Is that one still, and
Wow.
and in that moment I was just like, wow, the
Wow.
power of a short film. Just that little brief, short time, just those brief captions. And I had truly gone on an emotional journey, the full spectrum, and it, of course, it was to give more information about HIV and AIDS,
Yeah.
and this was like early on,
Okay.
when, that was first coming into awareness. And that was it. I said, I need a place where I can gather all the best short films.
Yeah.
And even if I'm the only one, I just want them all. I want to see them all. I want to watch them all.
Yeah.
And where the idea was born. And then and then just as you're working it out and you're working through it and you're planning and strategizing, and I was like, these people, they need to be honored. They need, because, the short film for a long time, it was just considered a calling card or, an
Yeah.
afterthought. But you still have to put that same energy, passion, talent, it may not be as long as a feature, but you're going to have sleepless nights. You're going
Oh
to
yeah.
be up at night, all of that goes into it for it to be a great, impactful short film. I thought that was worthy to be honored.
Yeah, I think short films sometimes are harder than features. I mean, especially like in the writing process, if you're doing a narrative
Yes.
film, like it's hard to condense a story into that short amount of time that is very impactful. But it can be so powerful in a short time. I mean, like if you look at even just music videos, sometimes are
Yes.
short films that tell a great story that'll, whether it's a love story or a lost story or whatever it is, it's
Or like
great.
a love horror story,
Yeah.
like Thriller.
Yeah, exactly. Which I still have nightmares from. But so my sister and I used to watch that when we were kids, and
Oh,
she would cry her eyes out.
oh my
She was really
gosh.
little at the time, and it was,
Poor thing.
and then later I had to try to explain to her, but then she would sit there and watch like Halloween, and she'd be fine, and I'm like, there's
And she'd be fine. Oh my God.
yeah.
Wow.
But
Oh.
anyways, so what how long has the Sophie's been going on?
So the idea, I, started really working on it in 2009, but we had our first film festival in 2014
Okay.
in New York on Broadway. It was at the Scholastic building, where they have Clifford the Red Dog.
Oh, nice.
And that year, it just happened to be it was the same day at the same time of that first Black Lives Matters march,
Yeah.
where those thousands of people went down Broadway. I
Yeah.
had no idea that that was going to happen and it was going to come right in front of our doors there. And so,
Did that
all the people,
interfere with the attendance or anything?
absolutely.
Yeah.
We had a filmmaker who was only 2 blocks away, but he was on the other side of the street.
Oh,
It took him over an hour to get there,
wow.
just trying to find a place to cross.
Yeah. Well,
But I mean, that being such a momentous time and
yeah.
a part of American history, it just made me feel like, yeah, we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be doing this because, a lot of short films touch on different, important social issues and, health issues and concerns and different important, matters.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I feel that is so important and special about us is that we give voice to those things, especially people in other countries who, they may not have the freedom of speech that we have here.
Yeah.
They can submit to the Sofies and have their work seen and get that story and that message out.
It is. It's very important. I mean, to give like a voice to the voiceless in a way. I mean, because there are so many issues in this world, not just in America, but that are,
Yes.
that are so important, like in Iran, people being tortured and killed because of their religion or what they say, or, other places too. I mean, I just know that from personal. I've had friends that have actually been put in jail in Iran because of their religious beliefs and stuff. It's just a sad world that we live in sometimes where, if we can all just get along, that's the main thing. I mean, we all bleed the same blood, it's not, it's
Right.
yeah.
Right. And you were talking about Iran, and I had a film one year, I believe it was 2015, and I sat there, I laughed, I cried, I was horrified, just again, full range of emotions. And it was about two, for lack of a better word, let's call them freedom fighters in
Yeah.
Syria. And one was she was considered like a social princess, a socialite,
Yeah.
and she gave that up to like go out into the streets and do what she could and document, talk and get the word out about what was going on. And in the film, like you actually see them out in the streets, and at one point they were talking and they have this little girl who was kind of like, their mascot, or she just kind of flew around them and they looked after her. And you saw something in the background and it looked like people had fallen, and then all of a sudden there was a loud explosion and the camera shook and the little girl disappeared, and I'm like, what happened? And when they came back, it turned out the two men that had fallen, they had been shot. And you see people like rushing in to grab their bodies. And,
Wow.
and now I'm like, where's the little girl? Where's it? Because a bomb had gone off.
Oh, jeez.
And in the end, they were all fine. But, here's this, like, not telling us about it, not, archival news footage of it. Like, it was happening in real time as they were shooting. And, the filmmaker, course, it was nominated. And so, I got in touch through email of the filmmaker because I hadn't heard from him as to whether or not he was coming. And, I'm like, your film, we're just really looking forward to you. Will you be able to come? And he's like, oh, I really, I would love to. But unfortunately, I'm going to be in Iran, working with, the people that are fighting there. And, I'm going to be documenting and in that moment, I felt so silly.
Yeah.
Like, here I am, like, come be at the Sofies. We're going to have a great time. Like, excuse me, ma'am. I'm trying to save the world.
Yes. Some things are a little more important here sometimes. Yeah.
But I was so glad that he wanted to share that film with us.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to get messages out there, whether they're local or international or what have you. when is the when are the Sofies, I should say?
This-
I was just curious.
We hold them in November,
November.
and they're usually, yes, the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That's usually.
And can anybody enter the contest?
Yes, so the submissions are open now. They'll be open until the second week of June.
Okay.
And yes, there is a cutoff, like they have to have been made after December 31st, 2021.
Okay.
So, but we also have a best short film from the vault category.
Okay.
And that's for those older short films that, because, again, we've
Good.
only been doing this since 2014.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of great short films before that.
Oh, yeah.
And that I think should still be recognized and honored. And so that's the category for those films that are prior to January 1st of 2022. So
do you have both narrative and documentary films in this?
yes, and we have comedy categories, we have documentaries, we have dramatic, we have narrative, which we use that category for like films that are narrated or have VO, and then we also have the films that are eligible for those categories. They have to be 20 minutes or less.
Okay.
But we also have a best long short category for the films 21 minutes up to 60 minutes. Because there's some that are just longer, and I don't want them to fall by the wayside either. So that's
there is that good, it's like sometimes a good sweet spot with a 21 or shorter, but then sometimes you need more breathing room to tell a story. So
and especially like with documentaries, a lot of times they tend to be longer.
Yeah, it's hard to get it in a short amount of time. I've never done a documentary myself. I've only directed shorts, like narrative shorts, and did do a fake documentary once in college, but that was like a mockumentary. But yeah, I like to call it a fake documentary because it was more serious than something like The Office or something that's a mockumentary. Yeah, but so and the I think there'd be a lot of people listening, hopefully, here on this show that would want to enter it or attend it. I mean, I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of people if they can make it out there. Is there how much is it to get into the festival, and how many days does it run?
Well, we have screenings for 3 days.
Okay.
And then we do the award ceremony on the last day.
Okay.
We also have meet and greets throughout the week. We had a master class last year. We do some workshops and things. So, plenty of opportunities for them to network, learn, talk about their films and their projects and things. And what we do is I have screening passes. So if you're only able to come to the screenings, there's a pass for that. That's $25. And then there's a all access pass, and so the all access pass is $250.
Okay. That's not too bad to see a lot of films and from around the world. That's really, really good. Is there before we wrap things up here, is there anything else you would like to say to our listeners, especially like young and new filmmakers that might be listening?
Sure. Definitely check out the Sofies. We are very supportive of filmmakers at all levels. Our filmmaker and our film community, they are so gracious and generous of time and information, and they're just very supportive of one another. So if nothing else, just to be in our community is just a very great uplifting experience for filmmakers. And you can get information on our website at thesofies.com.
Okay.
That's THESOFIES.com. It's kind of, like a loose acronym for, short films.
Yeah.
The H is invisible and silent. So,
Maybe just for like, hey, read the rest of this. No, no, no.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we are, again, we'll be taking submissions through June. So definitely check it out. And if and we'll be screening online as well. So there'll be a virtual screening pass as well if you can't make it to New York.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they can also see the award show online as well. So please,
yeah.
get involved with the Sofies. We'd love to have you. It's a great community.
That's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. If you'd ever like to come back and talk about this again next year or anything else that you've got going on, just reach out to us and we'd love to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and please, if you any other things you'd like to talk about with films, I love film, so invite me. I'll be happy to come.
Yeah, we review movies all the time. If you ever have a favorite movie you want to talk about or a least favorite movie, whatever you want to talk about, just let us know.
Wonderful. Okay, I will be hitting you up.
Okay, alrighty. And again, thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. My pleasure. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that was our interview there with CiMa Birch. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Very interesting story about how she got started in filmmaking, about the awards show, the short film awards called the Sofies, that are going on in New York City at the end of this year. More info on that at their website again. It's the shortfilmawards.com. Be sure to check that out. There'll be links in the show notes and ways for you to find everything out if you want to submit to the film festival or view it in person or online when it's going on. Any final thoughts here, Matt? I mean,
not Sesame Man, whatever.
Yeah.
I was just going to say again, the shortfilmawards.com.
Yes.
The word is actually part of the title.
Yeah, it's www.theshortfilmawards.com.
Yeah. I just think it's just fascinating, what people are doing, what she's doing. We need more for the arts. We need more, award ceremonies for people. I guess we're trying to, get started, who might not, be a blockbuster or whatever, people who, are super talented and they're making their own stuff and, would like to get noticed, because there's a lot of people out there who, are really good.
Yeah, and the really cool thing too about the short form of cinema is that with a festival like this, you can view more people's work, because it's in shorter form, obviously, so there's more time. If this was a regular feature length film festival, you wouldn't have as many entries available, and this gives a lot of people a lot of opportunity to get their messages out there, their voice heard. And the thing that's really cool about short film is that you can create something very poignant in a short amount of time, like a story about struggle, a story about hope, whatever it is, something that can affect people just in a short period of time. Anyways, folks, if you liked this interview and want to hear more of those, let us know. If you have anybody that you want to be on the show, just reach out to us and let us know. Also, go to our website, all2real2.com. Check that out. Check out our TeePublic. Check out our Patreon. Subscribe to the show. Check out all of our social media links and everything. Also, remember again, that's theshortfilmawards.com. All the info you need about what CiMa and I talked about in the interview. And last but not least, be good to each other. And remember that I love you. CiMa probably loves you. And Sesame definitely loves you.
Yes.
And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.